As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of this committee and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. My mayor's address, I'd just like to inform council that I did attend the Round Lake Properties Owners Association meeting on Saturday, July 27th, and I'd like to share some of the questions and concerns that were directed at me, which I'd like to share with council. And there's 10 or so points that I'd like to bring up. First one is, with the increase in viewers to council and finance meetings, could council not consider improving the quality of sound and viewing of YouTube? They had suggested that Scott Gardner could provide assistance if we would like to reach out to him. So,
well, we have looked at it before and it was going to cost a whole bunch of money. That's why we went this way.
yeah, I'm not sure what he could do or what he can't do, but would it be worthwhile just to call him and ask? I don't know, but we can ponder that over, okay? There was disappointment in the lead time announcement of the Tremor Bridge closure. There was a feeling of a lack of communication in regards to the comprehensive zoning bylaw. They felt there were very qualified people around the lake that could have provided their time and expertise to the bylaw. Some residents are upset in the handling of the enforcement of the bylaw in regards to trailers. They feel there should be more enforcement in Floy Park in regards to parking on the road. Regarding speeding on Round Lake Road, I explained they wanted the community safety zone signs, and I explained that those signs are only placed on roads in areas where there are schools. A question was asked in regards to where the muscle signs. I know we talked about this at budget time, but it completely left my mind, and Brian and I have talked, and we just missed this to put it in the budget. We don't know the cost of 3 signs, and when Brian and I sat with some individuals at Round Lake, or the Property Association, they had made a commitment they were going to get the small signs to put at each dock entrance, which I believe they do have, and there are some that are up. But we felt that our part was to do the 3 billboard type signs. But we have yet to look to explore the cost of the 3 signs and to see if we could even fit it into the budget this year. So, conversation, anyone? Can I give Tammy direction to check to see how much the 3 signs would cost, and then take it the next step and after that?
I think we should find out a cost and then see if there's anywhere we could. Do we have like a rec? Is it a rec budget or something somewhere that we could get money for something like that?
I can take a look on the budget and see where it is, what size of the signs. I know you said billboard, but I need to know signs and like the size of the sign.
Brian, would they be similar to the signs, where the OPP has put those deer signs up? Would they be that big?
Well, they wouldn't have to be that big, but
Like smaller than that?
I would say maybe one size smaller. I'm not sure how
4
many.
by 8 or something.
Yeah.
Because those signs are stationary. Those ones that police have up are for drivers.
Right.
These signs are going to be right at where they going to be.
One would be on Simpson Pit Road going towards the lake, and the other 2 would be on Round Lake Road, one coming from Pembroke and one coming from here. Unless someone has a different vision of where they could go, but
couldn't you just put them at the boat launch? Or,
Well, they have all the small ones there, but the idea is like, some people don't need, they back in and they have a small sign there like this, they don't even look at it.
yeah,
So it's to get the word out there because it's a, to me, it's a concern for the Round Lake. If we, so far we've been lucky, as far as I know, there is no zebra mussels in there, and we'd like to keep it that way, I think. And that's maybe a small, cost for us to
We get a lot of boats coming from both ends.
come in and go
Out of
from
the-
both
out of the
areas, yeah.
township, so.
Yeah. And that first sign has to be before Red Rock Road, because they utilize,
Why would you not put it up where we have our Matthew Spears sign, when you're coming, especially from Pembroke,
that's a good idea.
put it on that same
That's a great idea.
post?
That's a good idea.
But yeah, we need a, I'm not sure the size, probably 4x8 is like.
we might wanna check with the county to see what they'll allow us to put and where they allow us to put it, because that's a county road.
So if we have
Simpsons
our,
Pit's a county road.
if we have our Killaloo signs up, and maybe like Harold says they could be added to that, it's already a sign there,
Yeah,
I don't know.
the only thing,
Just
it
an
would be
idea.
much smaller on that. They would have to be much smaller
yeah.
on that, there's not much space on
Oh,
those.
yeah, okay.
Because they pretty well go to the bottom, and the weeds and the grass grow.
You'd almost have to have a separate sign, I would think,
Yeah, we would.
to make it
We
noticeable.
definitely need permission from the county.
Dean, did you?
That's exactly what I was gonna say, we need permits from the county and ask them how big that we could.
Yeah,
If they want a 4x8, the county's decision to go with a 4x8, that would be fine, but we need permission and a permit most likely from the county renter.
Tim, you and Dean could get together on that? Several people complained about a property on Round Lake Road in regards to property standards. The owner has stated he has an open permit, meaning he has no timetable for completion. The question I have, and hopefully someone can help me, what is an open permit? I have never heard of an open permit.
Have they put in a written complaint?
what's,
Just hang on a second. I have suggested there were several people that
If
came
there's no
forward.
written complaint, I don't even wanna talk about it because we're wasting our time. That's the policy, they gotta follow the policy.
And another one was, another couple of people complained about a 30-foot fence being erected going towards the shoreline. And again, I will need a written complaint. Finally, I read in a local paper that council should take more initiative in the Round Lake Property Association requests, and council needed to be retrained. I was not present for these comments, and so I was unable to defend council, which I would have done then and will do now. Council takes all requests put forward before them very seriously and weighs all pros and cons before making decisions in the best interest of the township. Council is not trained by any group to follow their lead. And that's that. Now we'll delegation. Mr. Halliday. You can come forward. Oh, does anyone have any particular financial interests? Haven't seen them.
I'll declare it if
You can. The floor is yours.
Okay, I came to go around, well, I started coming to go around 2000, and my son had been kidnapped to India by his mother and left there, and she came back without him. And so I was chasing this Chivite tribe that had my son up and down the Himalayas of the Foreign Affairs and the Interpol and Indian Police. And then finally, she went back there and I got my son back. I had full custody of him. Unfortunately, I broke my foot in 5 places, and when I came up here, I was looking for a place of to rest in a way, and I was a single parent and suffered a bit. So Mr. Harrington, who owned the hardware store, he rented me an apartment there at 169 Queen Street for $500. So I was paying him $500 up to a certain point, and then I went to him and asked if it's possible, because I was asked by Ontario Works to if I wanted to start a business, and the only other place in town to start a business was 169 Queen Street. So Cool Hemp was downstairs, and I said, well, okay. I went to Mr. Harrington and I said, well, can I have an option to buy from you, and maybe you hold the mortgage and that? And he said, yeah, sure, if you get me 10 grand. So, and then he goes, you know, you give me 10 grand. So I borrowed 10 grand off of a friend who turned out not to be a friend after, because him and this other guy ended up signing on to my business and my building by 2/3, and then they were trying to get a loan from the Bank of Montreal and everything else. And finally, I just said, well, I don't agree to this because I didn't want to get a big loan and pay for all their stuff. And the one guy was saying he lived with me for about 6 months for free, and then he was saying, well, this is my floor now. And so I kind of chased them out, and they were always calling me up saying, where's my 10 grand? So one day I dressed up and I went to the bank and I got a loan, and I called them up, and Mr. Krantz helped me out, and Mr. Howe, and I got them I changed it to a sole proprietorship, and they signed off. I had 2 certified checks to give them, and I had to pay them pretty much what I would have used for my startup costs for the restaurant. But then I proceeded to keep going, trying to get the restaurant going, and there were people saying that, you can't do that, and at the same time do this, and all these different things. I said, well, I can do both, you know what I mean? So I tried to do what I could, and then eventually I was running the restaurant for a while there. But in around 2005, when I was closing on the building with Mr. Harrington for his mortgage, there was a main in the building with no roof. It's right next door to me. It was attached to my building, and it was 40 below zero one day, and apparently there was just a small crawl space basement, and you go down there and there was one of these kind of pipes, and it wasn't turned off at the sidewalk. So that popped off, and at that time Mr. Bender was living downstairs, and I said, Mr. Bender, it sounds like there's something wrong, you know, because normally I know what the sound of the creek is, and it sounds like water rushing, and there's a hatch in the middle of the floor. We opened the hatch and the water was just flowing in out of this pipe like this big, not just a regular pipe, but one like that, like this. And the top, it popped off it. And so he helped me dry it out, but it pretty much destroyed my oil furnace, my oil tank, and my oil hot water heater, and everything that was in the basement. And people for years had said to me, oh, can I put my stuff in your basement? I said, well, at your own risk if you want to. And the basement was filled with a lot of people's stuff and my stuff and everything. So that cost me a bunch of $500 dumpies. And basically, I just kept paying Mr. Harrington for his mortgage, which covered the taxes and everything else. And then 2017, there was a flood. And Mr. Harrington had told me that at some point there was some breach in the system that brought the water from other drains in the city into my basement, which has a big square drain like this, with a big grate, you know. And it's supposed to be a drain, but it acts like a well. So whenever the creek goes up, the basement goes up. And pretty much it does that every year, but then in 2017 it overpowered everything. And then that was the final straw for the oil furnace and the hot water heater and that, which I tried to work at and everything, but then it never really worked properly. So, and apparently, well, at that time, they were saying, well, you're in the floodplain, but we're not insured for the flood and that. So I was sort of fluffed off to Red Cross and the disaster relief. But the disaster relief and the Red Cross only really helped me get my furnace. So I got a furnace, and I think overall it was around 17 grand to put in a new furnace and an on-demand hot water heater, and the guy built it up so that it was he tried to build it up above where the water would come. And then, so that was going, but by then I was feeling kind of sick from being there, and my son wanted to go to Madawaska High School. So I rented another place in Mary's Bay, in which I even have a recommendation from them that I paid him all my bills. And even from the time that I was paying Harrington around $500 for rent and then $795 or something like that for his mortgage. And then eventually I got a mortgage at 7% interest from a home guard funded Laurentian Bank. And then that was paying the regular taxes. But I had at one point sort of protested not paying the sewage and water, but it was more like a decision to eat, you know, because I had very little budget to fulfill, and they were charging me all these commercial rates before my restaurant even got started, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So just I just wanted to give you that, and so I'm now in 1922, I think it was around 20 grand or something. Now it's around 80 grand, and it's being compounded at 1.25 interest every month. So this month or this year, when I did my taxes, I paid $6,129, and with the most recent payment, that would bring up to around $7,000. And even though my son can't really afford to pay anything, he came and paid $1,000 for me this month. I'm just going to be able to pay my bill, and it seems as though the bill, regardless of, I started out paying $400 on it, and then they said, oh, pay another $250, maybe that will help, you know. but I had no idea that it was that much, you know, per month. It seemed like kind of oppressive. So, I'm just trying to feel it out as to the situation. I gave up my place in Bears Bay, because I couldn't afford to keep the two places going. In the meantime, I had a little bit of a bicycle shop there. My place sort of turned into a garage. And during that whole time, I wasn't using any utilities there at all. And like COVID, there was COVID for 3 years, and there was those three floods. The one from the house with no roof, the one in 2017, and then in 2019, I didn't file for anything because I felt intimidated that I already got something, but it was nothing compared to like having a backwater valve or my basement tuck pointed and things like that, right?
So
But now I have it stabilized and I have new plumbing and what I'm trying to do is be more of because I'm a member of CHCR and I'm on the membership committee, and CHCR used to have Garth's Kitchen and they were able to make members through there.
So you have 1 minute left?
Yeah, so
So get to what your ask is.
what I'm asking is there some way that you could reduce the interest? Because they told me 12 years ago that if I went for a year, they would consider lowering the interest on it so that I could pay off some of it. None of this went to the principal at all. And yet, my sewage and water bill, I paid it down. And the other part just kept compounding. And basically, I don't feel like I got sewage and water properly, or I've been really treated well in that sense.
Does any member of council have any questions for Mr.
I
Halligan?
was just reading this here. Oh,
You
sorry.
can't read that, that's.
Oh, okay, sorry. No questions.
Any questions? So what we can do, we'll take this with, as council, in closed, and we'll discuss it further, and we'll respond back to you.
Okay, I'd just like to say one more thing, is that there was one lady going around there saying there's not enough bathrooms in Killeen. And my place provided 2 very nice bathrooms at one point, and trying to get it back to that again. And the teachers have provided a lot of really nice tiles for me and other things. So I'm trying to set it up so that I can make members for CHCR from there again, because CHCR doesn't have a way of making members now, whereas before they had a place to meet the public, and my place is pretty much helping tourists and all kinds of things like that.
So we'll take this under consideration, and we'll talk about it, and we'll issue a letter back to you.
Okay, I appreciate that, sir, thank you.
Okay? Thank you.
Can I stick around?
By all means.
Better than anything we can do.
I appreciate it.
Motion for the previous council meeting of July 16th, open and closed sessions.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Carl Pia, motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of July 16th, 2024, open and closed sessions.
All those in favor? Carried. Meetings. Under the meeting section. Ted, do you want to bring up your potential change?
Yeah, we're gonna get a hold of Bob and see if we can, what works for him. We're gonna try to change the emergency management meeting from the 21st to the 26th.
So when Bob will get, Tammy will talk to Bob and see if that's good. I would like to have another finance meeting. I know August is really, with holidays and everything like that, sort of crammed up. How about, the first week in September?
What's the purpose of the meeting?
What's the purpose of the meeting? To start listing potential expenses that staff will be able to recognize for next year's budget. Because I don't think we're in a position that we can wait until 2025 to start to go through the budgets. And that meeting on the 4th, I would like Dean to attend also. So the focus will be on the roads department. Okay,
When does that meet?
sorry?
When is it?
September 4th.
I'm on holidays that week.
Mr. Mayor, I don't feel that we should be the ones who are going through line by line expenses. I made some comments at the last meeting, I don't think I need to repeat them, but we have experts who are, who we've hired to put together our budgets, and I suggest that we lean on them to come up with the savings, or come up with different options for the savings. So if we need to cut a dollar figure, like come up with a lump sum dollar figure or a percentage figure to give to Dean, I would say that would be an approach. But for us to come and decide where exactly Dean should cut money out of his budget, I am absolutely not qualified. I think in our very first meetings, I told you I didn't know the difference between a loader and a bulldozer, right?
No, and that's not the idea of it, Bill, and I respect your thoughts on that. And the idea is to determine how, between Dean and Tammy, came up with the budget figure, so that we, as council, can provide some guidance where, if possible, there could be a reduction in the following budget. Like you're right, I don't know the difference between a grader and a bulldozer either, but I'd like to know how.
I do now, for anyone.
What I do wanna know is, we're our budget was $1 million more than what we brought in. So we have to determine, as a council, where it came from. Because right now, I don't think any of us sitting around this table know where that $1 million came from.
Well, we did, because Tammy listed it all last time. There's a whole list of reasons why we had such an increase. I agree with Bill. I don't feel comfortable spending taxpayer money right now on another meeting. Like, they're expensive. I mean, it's, you know, we add, I don't know how many more finance meetings we're gonna have, but we could be like at $10,000 by the time we're done having all these finance meetings to discuss the shortfall of a budget. I mean, it's just adding to the stress. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. This budget's passed. We've done a tax increase. I think it's done. We've made a lot of big steps at our last meeting. I think, like, huge steps that are gonna make a big difference for next year.
I agree with Bill too. I think if we want to put a figure out there, if we want Dean to cut $100,000 from his budget on roads, then we tell him that, and he's going to tell us where he's going to make the savings. I'm not any more qualified than Bill or anybody else sitting here to make those decisions. Like, I have no idea. You know, roads might be worse than they are now.
Oh, God.
If we
Yeah.
start making those decisions.
No, we're not.
No, we have qualified people.
We're not making decisions on what he's gonna budget, what he's not gonna budget.
I know, but
We wanna know, we brought our budget down it was at $1.3 million. We brought it down to $1 million, okay? So we found Tammy and staff found $300,000, and basically, at the conclusion of that, that was it. They couldn't find any more. And we didn't push any farther than that. But we have to find out, as a council, why are we spending more money than what we're actually bringing in?
Because people aren't paying their taxes.
No, that reflects onto reserves, and we've done our due diligence as far as reserves. And we know that our provincial and federal grants,
So,
they haven't increased with our expenses. We know that.
so what is another meeting gonna do? We've gone through that budget 3 or 4 times. That budget is done and gone. And if we're gonna change anything on our next year's budget, we need the department heads to make those decisions. Where
Well, we're not ready to
savings are
start,
gonna be.
we're not ready to start doing 2025 budget. We're not at that point yet. But
24 is done.
24 is done, it's booked, the 17% increase, I agree with all of that. But I can't believe what I'm hearing, that nobody wants to know why we spend $1 million more.
I think I know.
Yeah,
We had outrageous levels of inflation over the past couple of years. The cost of everything went up. The cost of paving went up incredibly high. The wages, we had to put wages up in the past 2 years, and still we're behind, but still we have to put wages up. That's where the costs are. You know,
Fuel.
we can, sorry,
Fuel, everything.
fuel, yeah. I get what you're trying to get at, but I don't think it's gonna get us to where we need to go.
And yet there could be policies that need to be changed before the end of the year. Things that we're doing that maybe we can't afford to do anymore.
and can we bring those to a regular meeting and discuss those if you find such policies that you feel need to be changed? So that we're not spending money on another meeting?
So within a council meeting, I can have an hour for finance issues? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, spread it out, I'd rather have it in, I don't know, I'd rather save money and do it in one night, like tonight, you know? I think we have to be a little more prudent with
Can we-
spending
can we-
taxpayer money.
Can we do that, Tammy?
It's not on the agenda, so you can't have a committee meeting within a regular meeting.
But if
We
we
have
have
a policies
questions about
committee,
the
don't we?
business.
So that would be brought up at a policy.
That's only part of it. That's not the full council.
Okay.
I'm not sure what kind of policies would come up against that we need to change in order to save money. Do you have any suggestions?
Why don't you think of a
examples?
couple right off the bat?
Okay.
So. Thank you for your inputs. But I think, so September 4th is not a good day for you?
No, on the holidays.
Okay. September 9th, you're back? So Monday?
I have, seriously, I have to look at my calendar right now.
I'm not available until after the 19th.
You're closed up for September?
I have stuff going on that I've already booked, and I have holidays, and I'll be here on the 6th, but
September the 6th?
that's our regular meeting.
What? No, the 3rd.
3rd.
The third is the regular.
Third,
Well, I'm looking at the wrong month. Yeah, I'll be here on the 3rd, but
You're gone for the 3 weeks?
I have stuff going on. I won't be coming to the meeting. You can have it, but I won't be here.
I'm gone from the 19th and the 26th. I got a hydro meeting and I got our energy solution meeting.
Okay.
So are we agreeing to have this meeting then?
No, the chair,
None of us, we don't wanna have it, but we don't have a say in it, do we?
Right. the chair has.
The chair calls the meeting.
How about the week of
Even though
August?
none of us wanna have it, it's still his call.
How about the week of August 26th?
No.
I won't be here. Oh, I won't be here on the 26th.
The week of the 26th doesn't work for me.
You're fine.
But I finally got my calendar open.
Carl, you said you're gone 1926?
I'm gone the 19th to 26th, yes.
19th to the 26th, or just the
No,
19th
2
and
days,
the
for 2
26th?
days. 2 days I'm gone, 19th and the 26th.
So, Truth and Reconciliation is that day off. How about September 30th? No conflicts?
I could do it.
That's a Monday?
Yeah.
I do it under protest. If I attend the meeting, I'm
It's
doing it
noted.
under protest,
That's noted.
because it's a waste of taxpayer dollars.
Is that a finance meeting?
Yeah.
7 o'clock?
Yep. Dean, are you okay with that?
I do believe so, yeah.
Okay, Dean, your report.
Okay, so regular road maintenance continues, grading, coal patch, grass cutting, etc. Our A gravel tender finished up today. They thought they were done last week, but after looking at some of the tonnage reports, it didn't match up, so I had to get them back there on, today to finish up. Finished up this morning. Harlan and I met with a couple of members of the Round Lake Property Association there, and it went really well. They were pleased with the dock extensions, and we straightened it up while we were doing the dock extensions. We'll be putting, with the ramp there, we'll be putting some filter cloth and some riprap to alleviate some of the erosion for now, and it's not in the water, so we're good, that's great. Still never heard back from the engineer report regarding the boat ramp, but not much I can do about that. A couple Sundays ago, I received a call from MOECC regarding black type of oil looking on Traymore River on Boyle Lane. Not sure why they called me, because it was an MOE situation, but anyway. So, but they called me twice after for a follow-up, so I did go out there, I talked to the owner, and there was nothing visible. So I'm gonna talk to other municipalities and see what their protocol is for that, like if they go out and take a peek at it or not. And really, it's not me to decide what's in the water, it's, you know, kind of thing. But I did go out to take a look at it, because they called 2 or 3 times, and when I was talking to one guy, I said, what do you want me to do about it? And he says, you can do it whatever way you want. And I said, well, I'm not gonna look at it. So then I got 2 or 3 other calls. I said, well, you better be a better, what do you call it, spokesperson than this other guy, because they said I wasn't very pleased with his attitude towards me, that kind of thing. So he apologized, but yeah. So anyway, so I'm gonna talk to the municipalities to see what their protocol is on that situation. Brian and I were talking there last week, I guess it was, regarding Turner's Road. At the Turner's camp there's 60-kilometer signs there on both ends. They're in decent shape. Grass needs cutting around them as well, and a couple of them do need straightening. And at the bridge, there's a Watch for Children sign. So I guess what they're wanting to know if we could put that down to a 40-kilometer zone, and maybe put different signs up. And I was talking to Brian, and maybe Brian can elaborate on this after, but I said, well, 40 kilometers is kind of pretty slow for there. I said maybe we could put another sign up for pedestrian crossing or something like that, because they're going to be opening it back up kind of thing. So, Brian, do you have anything to elaborate on
Yeah,
that?
so I went up and had a look at it too, but so the one sign approaching from my end here
Yeah.
is, it's fairly old and dull looking. Like, do we have any, or do you have anything in your budget for road signs? Like,
We have
that
some-
one could be replaced. The question they had was, when they talked to, or sent me the email, was they wanted them closer to the campsite. Now, I don't know if there's is there a protocol on how the distance or
for the
the
signs?
speed sign, like the 60 is, she,
Too far back.
yeah, she thought it would be better closer to the campsite area. And the one coming from past the camp is on the far side of the bridge. I thought maybe if it was on the campsite side of the bridge, it might help. I don't know, it's just a suggestion. I agree with you, I don't know about the 40, I can't see it, like, you know, 60 is not very fast, and if they have the pedestrian signs, I see they have put up some of their own
Yeah,
pedestrian
shaded
signs,
on
but maybe we could put one of ours up, and that might help. I don't know what else we can do there, but the one 60 limit sign on our side,
side.
my side is could be replaced. I think it's
yeah.
fairly old looking and very dull. Like that was one of the complaints.
Yeah.
I kind of, you know, I would maybe catch somebody's
design
eye
it
a
a
little
little bit more.
quicker. I don't know.
Yeah, those signs weather, right? Like, over
Yeah,
time.
it's been there for I don't know
Oh,
forever.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't know if like if you have anything in your budget on road signs.
I'd have to look and see, Brian, but I think we'd probably be able to put. a
Yeah,
different
that
sign.
one would be the main one. The one on the other side isn't as bad. I guess
Mhm.
doesn't get the weather the same there. I don't know. But,
Yeah, why not?
and as far as the distance, I'm not sure. But the question I was going to ask you was.
The other thing is, if you move that sign, then you're taking away from those two other people that already has the signs there, right? Because there's a chute that's there, and the sign
Yes.
before on.
So it's
Stevens-
right before Schutz's house has
Yeah.
the sign, right? As soon as you're making the corner.
Yeah, but it's before that, right? So I think you'd be still taking away from that other house there, no? I didn't get a chance to get out there today. I know Donnie was out there.
Yeah, you'd have to put it up. If you were going to move it, it would be up closer to that second house. Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of.
That would change the speed limit though for before that sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then,
So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not. Yeah.
Well, we could, like you said, maybe change that one sign, brighten it up.
That would be a good.
a good start kind of thing.
And
see.
maybe a pedestrian crossing or whatever they sign, whatever it reads, pedestrian
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
Just so there is a lot of people, so that's a business that they bought, and they're going to probably try to get it, revive it there, and they have camps on both sides. Like there were people on both sides, so they will be crossing there. And I know it's a 60, and I think
Yeah.
regardless, you're going to get people speeding. We even get it in Killaloo here.
I honestly think once they do open it up though, and there's more people around, it will slow people
Be more
down, too,
aware.
right?
I agree. Yeah.
Okay, I could look into that and see if we can get one sign put up. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I can put that into the budget.
Okay. Thank you.
So one sign?
Well, the new 60, and if we have a pedestrian one.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
so-
Okay, so the John Deere tractor that we use for brushing was down, but it's fixed now, so probably Thursday we'll get that out there and try to get that, some of the roads that are brushed back. Myers Creek Road update, Greenwood paving, I was talking to them, and they said probably now, not to the end of September. In the meantime, hopefully this week we'll spread some A gravel down. We would have did it sooner, but I couldn't pull the grader off when we had the hired trucks putting our A gravel tender down. So, like I said, today they were finished, so hopefully Thursday, Friday, we'll probably get something put down there to alleviate some of those issues there with the potholes and stuff. So tomorrow is our annual Road Supers Golf Tournament, so I'll be at that tomorrow.
Got lots of balls.
Not that I'm any good, but at least we'll collaborate with a bunch of our colleagues and stuff, so. Waste report. I know everybody was getting a lot of calls in the weekend about the landfill, and so was I. Friday, we were supposed to get 2 empty bins from GFL, and they called and said not till Tuesday. They couldn't find any drivers to bring the bins. So we put one of our 10 plow trucks there in place. Meanwhile, the 1 ton that normally picks up the garbage and recycling and goes to the Round Lake site, we would have been putting garbage in that, but the dump box wouldn't go down. So I went out there on 2:30 on Saturday afternoon trying to see if I could, see if it was a solenoid or something, just trying to get it down. But unfortunately, it didn't work. So at the end of the day, we kind of did what we had to do. So the waste attendants at the end of the day, the waste that was around there, they picked it up and they buried it behind the steel pile. So that's all they could have did with that. So it's not their fault. So then we needed another truck out there for Monday for, the garbage in Round Lake. So Kevin and I decided we'd go out there on, Sunday morning to dump the truck there at the landfill site in Kildoot, dump it, bury it, and take that truck there. And wouldn't you know it, we blew a hydraulic hose, so didn't do that, so left that there. So anyway, so we went to the town in New Harry, brought another truck, took it out there for Monday, and all is well, so. So far.
All is well.
So the truck came today, there was one, they're supposed to bring another one tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get everything back up and running, but if we had the 2 bins, we'd never be having these conversations and stuff like that, so I just want council to know. And it is what it is, it was out of our control, like what do we do? You know, like we can't go down and pick up the bins ourselves, so it's unfortunate. So yeah, so the site will be cleaned up, you know, pretty much this week. There we have it all tidied up there, like all the garbage and recycling up and all that stuff, so that'll be done. And just another thing there, the guys there on Saturday when I was out there, it's such a hot day, probably the hottest day of the year, I would presume. I'm not a weatherman, but they're wrong, so I can be too. But no, like I felt bad for the poor guys. They sat in the AC. If people are saying, you know, you see them sitting in the AC, and yes, they were when I went there. But the place was so busy because it was a long weekend on Saturday. They were in and out of there. I thought the one guy was going to have a heat stroke, so I told him to go sit down, like make sure you're hydrated yourself and kind of thing. So it is a hard job. You're standing out there in the heat for 8 hours a day. You know, it's a tough job, like, and there's no shade.
There's no air, there's no wind out there.
There's no wind, there's no shade.
Everybody should go to work there for a Saturday.
So when people complain and say that, it's tough. It's tough on the guys, and that's why we did get a summer student to alleviate some of the problem, to help out. But yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, like if people see them sitting in that truck or see them sitting and there's nothing out around Lake. Like that's why they said the truck around Lake sometimes, because there's nothing in the building, because there's no hydro there, right? So just I want to let everybody know that who's ever listening to council, that's what's went on Saturday, and you know, it was out of our control. If it was, the bins would have been there, we wouldn't even been talking right now, it would have been gone from the meeting. And that's my report.
Does anyone have any questions for Dean?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see they got the 40 kilometer stickers on, and
Yeah.
they got them in the good places. You can see them, so.
Unfortunately, I'm lucky I did come at the right time. I came to the office because there's 2 painted here,
Yeah.
and we were only supposed to get the one here, and then the one at Mr. Bojak's up there.
Oh yeah.
They painted the one that was existing, and then they painted that one, so I told them, oh, no. So we have another one for, so just
Yeah.
in case.
Yeah.
Hopefully it lasts longer than a year.
Oh, no, they won't, because the guy said himself,
It was bad paint or whatever.
It was a different paint, it was in the fall kind of thing when they did it, so, yeah, other than that, no, I keep that.
Anything else?
Yes.
Yes.
Why are we having there? Nobody ever drives 40 past my place.
That's a council
Talking
decision.
80 and 90.
You can
That's a
fix
council decision.
fix that up, Carl. Put a 60 sign on.
Dean, I just have a couple comments.
Yep.
First one is the waste site. I gotta give Robert all the credit in the world. That guy hung in there, and he had a smile on his face, and he did as best as he could under the circumstances. And I know Darren was on holidays, but so he was taking the abuse and whatever else came with it, but he really hung in there tough. Like, and it was hot. I was there Friday, and he was. The fire signs. You know,
That's in Bob's hands now. He has the posts and everything. That's all up to him.
okay. So it's, you know which one, fire signs? The firefighter one?
The green flashing lights.
That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob was supposed to look after that. I got the signs for, or the posts and everything.
Oh, because the posts were late or something?
They were delayed,
Okay.
yes, because I got the posts for him. So he has all the posts. I'm not sure if they're at, where they are, but he has all the posts. They picked them up.
So we just let Bob know that? Or
He already knows.
He already knows?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Anybody else have anything else? Okay, thank you.
All right, have a good evening, council.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Committee reports.
Irish Gathering? Yep, so the Irish Gathering is coming up. We have a meeting tomorrow night here at 7 p.m. just to finalize all the details. The cultural center is going to be at the drugstore. We have lots of great music planned. It's going to be a lot of fun, lots of things for the kids to do. Beer for the grown-ups. Head's Garden will be open. So we're calling it Head's Garden. Will be open. If you want to have a beer with Ted, that's where he'll be. Friday and Saturday all day.
Come early.
Till closing time. Anyway,
You're both on Saturday, Dave, aren't you?
everything is well in order. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic event. So I hope everybody comes out in support of the Irish Gathering.
The entertainment sounds awesome.
Yep. Yeah, there'll be food, ice cream, yeah, beer. What more could you ask for? Good Irish music. So bring your
Those
chairs.
leprechauns are really nice.
There will be a leprechaun.
Okay. Let's move on to correspondence. Or does anyone else have anything else for committee? Okay, correspondence. Town of Bradford, West Gwillimbury, Resolution Ontario Lawn Service Monies. Brentford County and District Health Unit. Support for wastewater surveillance and case and monitored contact management software. Municipality of Wawa, resolution of support for asset retirement obligations.
I'd like us to consider supporting that. And can you bring something for next meeting? Thank you.
Township of Schreiber, resolution wastewater dechlorination. The next one is a letter from Todd and Sherry Sylvester in regards to beaches at Pinecone Park. Just a comment. We can't do budgets by the 1st of August. We have to wait till the end of the year to take them, so unfortunately we can't cooperate with that request. Does anyone else have any other comment? AMO Communications, basically I just gave that for information purposes. Plimpton, Wyoming, resolution, under serviced cellular communications. Okay, next is bylaw.
Moved by Carl Keel, second by Harold Levine, that bylaw number 28, 2024, being bylaw to amend bylaw 11, 24, being the zoning bylaw of the corporation of the township of Haverty Richards as amended, be given its first, second, and third reading, and finally passed the 6th day of August 2024.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Any unfinished business?
Oh, I have one unfinished thing. I just wanted to, you were talking about the security cameras maybe for the parks. I just wanted to see if maybe Dale, if he's on that, or do we just give him a little push, give him a gentle nudge to get on that maybe for the next meeting?
Okay.
Yeah.
Has there been more vandalism or?
No, but it's just I'd like to avoid any more. That should be an easy
Yeah.
comeback, right?
Can I get back to one thing? The Schreiber, did everybody read this thing?
Schreiber.
About the wastewater system?
That'd be the fourth one in.
D?
Pardon?
The chlorine system, yeah.
Up to 224, right now it's costing them $1,518,061.34 just for upgrades on the wastewater system plant.
The only problem is we don't know, like, are they run by a place like Aqua, where they look after everything and keep us up to date and make sure everything's working, or do they let that place
I don't know, but
go and then fix everything at once?
well, I'm just saying that it's from 219 to 224, what they've spent on that.
It's scary,
Yeah, I know.
like really scary.
Just the upgrade electrical was 23,000, and then it was, but it's scary when you get over $1.5 million on a sewage plant.
I, Bill Smith, declare a conflict of interest with respect to the Killarney Lines request for this budget.
And we've all received the document in your folder. Any comments? Is this one in our donation? This is brand new. So this is not in our budget?
No.
Just the one from
Here, yeah.
Brenda Lubetzky?
Yeah.
They want money so they can hire a band for New Year's Eve.
I don't think as a township we can give them money.
I don't
That's
know.
No, I don't.
not a township sanctioned event.
Any other
When I was growing up, when they had New Year's Eve parties, we paid at the door and that covered the price of the.
Anybody else have any comments? Do we need to vote on it?
You need to vote on everything.
Anybody says yes? Okay. Nope. Okay, motion to go to committee of the whole.
Oh, just wait, you were gonna say?
About some new business?
Yeah, we're gonna do business.
So under new business, I just wanted to bring up, I got an email and it, so it wasn't addressed to me, it's from the OPP. It was addressed to the mayor, Reeve, CAO and treasurer. Anyhow, I read the email and I was taken aback when I looked at, so what I get out of it is this OPP Municipal Policing Bureau and the provincial government are designating all these big raises, 4.75% last year, 4.5% this year, so on for the next couple of years. They're giving themselves a big raise and coming to the municipality and saying, pay it. So I think you're a representative at that level of government.
Right here.
I am, yeah.
Provincial government would be Doug Ford. You're gonna have to stand up at county and maybe even send a letter or something. Like, we have, and we're not the only one, I'm sure, small municipality, we can't afford to pay those guys that kind of money. Have a look at our monthly billing. How much do we pay the OPP in this small little municipality? Way overpaid for what they do. That's my opinion, and that's, I can't and I won't support another raise on top of that. But somehow we have to get that word out to Mr. Ford and to this Municipal Policing Bureau.
Ted sits on.
Like, how can we're looking for places to save money for our taxpayers, and we're giving them this kind of raises? We ourselves didn't take a raise. And they just sit down and say, well, we're gonna give ourselves 5%, 4.5%, 4 3/4.
Well, I'm sure that's part of the union their union's negotiation.
Well, it says right on the email that they made that decision. If you read it.
Yeah, so there is a collective agreement. So that was their.
Like, it's easy for you to sit down and give yourself a raise and then ask somebody else to pay for it.
Yeah. So what they negotiated, so 2020, 4.75 in 2023, 4.5 in 2024,
Yeah.
and 2.75 in 25 and 26. So Ted sits on the police board, so we can ask Ted to take our
That would
feelings
be a
back.
good question to bring up. When's your next meeting, Ted?
We haven't had any yet.
Yeah. Because
Actually, it's just a
I
new,
still have to,
it's a new form board, isn't it?
yeah,
Okay.
so I'll have to see if I can pass the criminal check.
I don't know if it's just me or if am I reading this wrong, or like, you can't just keep giving me, like, these guys that are working for $5 an hour, they're making good money, way more than they are earning,
Yeah.
most of them.
No, they earn money. I seen them stop one car on Queen Street with a sign on in 50 years. 2 weeks
Anyways,
ago.
I think we have to look into that. That's one place, if you wanna save money on our budget, like, we can't keep jacking up the OPP budget.
And that goes right to the percentage.
Yeah, absolutely, like, we're paying them monthly, and quite well.
Okay. Well, that's a good point. It's noted. Okay, motion go into committee.
Moved by Ted Brown, second by Carol Keel, the motion to move into committee as a whole. Be it resolved that council move into a closed meeting pursuant to section 239 of the municipal act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Personal matters of an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, labor relations or employee negotiations.
And all those in favor? Carried.
The meeting's not closed, so thank you for coming. And
Thank you very much, I feel a lot safer now.
And thank you for staying.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can come again.
Yeah, maybe it'll come down, you know, it's a wonderful process, you